Hey Anthony, how are
Hey,
you?
I'm good. Good morning. Thank you for hopping on a little earlier. As you guys don't know, like last minute, I was like, "Hey, can I get on early?" Because I'm at this cool mastermind with a whole bunch of people that aren't here yet. But I'm here. Thank you so much. How are you doing today?
Good. Thanks for joining us. I know that you've
Yeah,
got a lot going on, but we're really excited to talk to you and all about your new book, Identity Shift.
I got one
Um,
too. Look at we're twins. Look at that.
I love it. But to kick us off, I was wondering because I've heard a lot about your story and I've had the chance to talk to you about it before. But if you could
Yeah.
share your story with everybody and what inspired you to get so involved with the topic of identity.
Yeah, usually life has a way of doing things that are like accidental, or they happen and you don't realize it's the plan until far later. So, I had a really weird upbringing. I was given away as a kid at 3 years old in foster care, and then after that, I ended up in a situation where I was adopted by a very poor all-white family. So I grew up not really having a sense of self. In fact, like I didn't even look like the people that I lived with, And so identity became this thing that I was always trying to like navigate. And we all have these different conversations and moments where like we don't really know who we are sometimes, and so that just lasted a lot longer for me and started a lot earlier, I guess is the way to explain it. So I got to a point where 14, I got adopted and entered a new space of like, well, I'm gonna try this new game called football because I wanted to play but couldn't for so long. I wanted to hit people with like not get in trouble. So tried this whole thing out, and it was this amazing experience of like, wow, I could actually do something. Problem was I sucked at it. Like I was, and we all have that feeling. You try something new and like you're horrible at it. And so you get to this world where like you try to push a little bit farther to build this sense of self, and I did so. So thankfully, a couple years after that, I got an opportunity to get a football scholarship. Played football at the University of Oregon. My high school sweetheart and I had a kid at 20 years old. I met my real dad at 20 years old, my first college start. So I've now got the foster kid, the only black kid, all white family. I'm the athlete at a high level. I'm the dad. I've met my real dad. Like this is all. And then from there, I get a chance to play in the NFL. So I get blessed to do something at a high level, like the highest in the world. And then unfortunately, man, you get to the point where you just lose everything. So I had a massive crisis, which we all have when you wake up one day and can't do that thing you were doing. So massive crisis. And then I like was suicidal at one point, and just life came tumbling down. And I had to at some point rebuild myself from like the bottom to a place of normalcy. And so I got to that place. And then I realized that if I could do it like from the bottom to like a good level, I could do it to great. And so I set out to go to great. And then I figured it out. And then I came back and said, wow, the one unique thing that I've had to navigate more than most people in this world has been like, who in the heck am I? And where does my identity tie in? And when I went down that path of uncovering it, I found there's a great connection to all of humanity in this space. And if I could give people that little nugget, that little power, little kind of concept, it would open up doors for them. And so that's what I did. I made a process and I turned it into a concept I coach from. And then I was like, the world needs this. So I made it a book. And that's where the book comes to play.
Wow, every time I hear your story, it just, completely takes me back because you had to overcome a lot of adversity, right?
A little bit,
More
yeah.
than I think a lot of people should have to or do have to. And I'm just wondering, with that adversity, what's your take on everything happens for a reason? That's something that we hear a lot, especially
Yeah.
in the realm of personal development.
Yeah, it's always you have to make life happen, to you, or sorry, for you, not to you. And I think it's an interesting conversation because at the end of the day, everything's just a weight, right? If you like, I used to have a gym, and I'm a guy that played professional football, so weights come to my brain. And the reality is, life is a collection of weights, and what happens is we try to get through life, and when the heavy things come, hopefully have the strength to handle it. But I think we sometimes don't comprehend that the things we're dealing with are those weights we need. We may not want them, and it may be a little bit heavier than we need them to be now, but at some point in time, it becomes this thing where if you are able to handle it and you stay working out, later on, whenever you need that strength, it's there. And so all things in life become these weights. And so if we can lift the weights of, the relationship that's fallen apart, but I got to fix it, or I'm not a good parent, but I want to be better, or, I haven't been able to get in great shape, but I'm going to do that, or I don't work well with my employees or my boss or my colleagues. Like when you actually lean in, what happens is later on, this thing that you saw is like, oh, this is horrible. It almost inevitably becomes a strength and an asset for your life at some point in time.
It's a great outlook. It's different than I think anything I've heard before with that, that statement. Because I mean, everybody has a different perspective on what that means, but I like your analogy with the weights. So in your book, The Identity Shift, first of all, I want to ask you, when can people get it and where can they
Yeah.
get it?
Tomorrow,
And
well, you can order it now. You can go there now and get it. It comes out tomorrow, like actually drops audiobook, workbook, all that kind of fun stuff. But yeah, it's coming out tomorrow.
it's coming out tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay, so for everybody who heard that, you can order it now, but it comes out tomorrow. That's so like super exciting. I'm gonna order it for sure. I know I'm borrowing this copy. This
Oh,
is
are you?
not
Oh,
my
yeah, yeah.
copy.
That's okay. Yeah.
So I need to get my
Yeah.
own copy.
Yeah, if you go to identityshiftbook.com, and that's it. You just go, it's simple. Identityshiftbook.com. There's like 3 steps. Get the book, you bring the code back, or the receipt come back. Use the code live because we're on a live stream, and then we'll just use live, and then you guys can go ahead and get the free audiobook, free workbook, and the free digital book also.
Super easy. And when we reshare this live, I'll make sure to drop that in the comments so everybody can access that information quickly. But the last thing I guess I want to talk about is, what is your biggest hope with the release of this book? What do you hope to reach people with the most?
Yeah, I think it's the difference that I think of the world's been needing, in a sense of really understanding all the stuff. We're in this humongous turnover of just the world from previous to now. And I think a lot of people have lost a sense of self, a loss of identity. And we just become these leaves in the wind. And so the reality is, if I can get you to understand how to use this as a chance to actually step into like a higher expansion of yourself, I've given a great gift. The reality is, like, my mom passed away 2014. I made 2 distinct promises. One was I would fix my broken life because I was divorced and I was out of shape and my business was doing poorly. And so I did. I figured that thing out. I got remarried my ex-wife. We've been an amazing marriage. Like, life is great. The second promise was I will find a way to give the world something from the craziness of my life. And so this is one of many gifts I give to the world. My hope is that people can grab it and apply it, because it's not just like, here's a cool concept. There's a full method in there to apply. So if you can use this, it'll get you to the point of having some certainty and control in a time where we feel like that's been ripped from us.
It's great. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Anthony.
So
I'm excited for everybody to get a copy of this book. Just go to identityshiftbook.com and use live, right?
Go grab it. Yeah, just use the code live. You get the book. It'll take you to Amazon to get the book. Bring that Amazon receipt back. Hit step 3, there's a little button, and then it takes you to a place you can put the code in. Use the code live, and then it takes everything down to 0. And you get, as soon as it comes out tomorrow, you get the audio book, you get the digital book, and a workbook. So you can get all the things you need to consume. I just want to make sure it gets into people's heads, hearts, and hands.
Audiobook, digital book, and a workbook. That's a lot.
Yes.
That's a lot, but that's awesome.
Yeah.
I want to use a little identity shift.
We all need it. And I want it to be applied. I know a lot of people get to the point where, like, they get a lot of information, but they don't do anything. And the whole purpose for the workbook is to increase the cognitive rigor. So when you read it, you go do this work and it locks it in. So it's not just this, evaporating information. So now it actually can be done, applied, and actually part of your life.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Anthony. This was really
Welcome.
great. I'm really excited that we had a chance to talk about your book and the launch tomorrow, and have another chance to share your story, because honestly, it's so empowering. I remember the first time that I heard it when you were on Kendra's podcast, Success Stories. I was brought to tears. So thank you for coming on and sharing that with us. And I'm excited for everybody to get a copy of your book. For everybody watching who's a follower of success, make sure you look up in the top left corner and follow Anthony, and we'll be, I'm sure, talking to you soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great day as well. Thank you, Madison, as well.
All right. Thanks, Anthony. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
If you want another awesome video in our Black Excellence series, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.